Well, hello and welcome to Charlez Richard Films. My name is Charles Richard, and today I've got another video for you. This time we're going to talk about the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. That is correct. That is a gimbal that I use quite a bit for my cell phone to do a lot of shooting, and this is the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. It is very lightweight, very well built. It is made out of a sort of like a very heavy duty plastic. It's got a mountain here so that you can put it on a tripod, or you can add this little extension, or it serves as an extension as well as a tripod, tabletop tripod, as you can see right here. And you can just open it up, and it's a beautiful tripod to mount on your table. Now, there's a lot of gimbals out there, and everybody's got their preferences, right? I am only going to tell you why I chose, this gimbal for my setup. Now, everybody has different functions that they use their gimbals, and they have different ways that they use their tools. But for me, one of the things that I look at is I look at the company. The company needs to be, in business for some time. Oh, we got the bells ringing right now. Oh well, I'm right next to a church. I am in a patio. All right, so let's wait a couple of seconds, okay? Because the church is not that close. It's like 2 blocks down, but you can hear the bells. Okay, maybe here we go. All right. So, anyways, the reason and not every gimbal that I saw was one that actually suited my need. So what made my decision, or what were the major functions, right, that I was looking for in a gimbal that made me led me actually to choose this DJI Osmo Mobile 6? Well, there's several of them. Number one, the fact that it is very portable, all right, makes it very, very handy, because when I go, for example, to the parks, I am no longer bringing these fancy cameras and stuff like that. I just take my cell phone. And if I do bring a camera, right, I would bring something like my XT30 Mark II, which is a very small camera, or maybe X100V. But the reality is that the phones right now, if you have a good phone, if you have one of the later Android phones, or one of the later iPhones, that is good enough to do that type of work. It's not, you're doing stuff that is, that is for you, not really professional, and it's got more, it's more in tune, right, for situations like that, because everything is in the palm of your hand, and you don't have to worry about carrying a lot of stuff. For example, when I go to certain events, the only thing I carry is this little pack right here. This is it, okay? And I carry my gimbal. I got 2 tripods. I got one which is right now, which is holding my, it's another tabletop tripod, which is holding my phone so that I can do this video. I usually do not carry that tripod, because this is enough. Because this also has, remember, because this can serve as a tripod as well. But in this scenario, being small is important, and being light is important. Now, I'm going to tell you the good things and the bad things about this gimbal. What's really nice for me for this gimbal is, like, and one of the things that I actually look at is that DJI is, because it has been around for so long, I use a professional app for cell phones, and it's available for the iPhones as well as the Androids. I use Filmic Pro. Why do I use Filmic Pro? Because the app on most phones are not powerful enough to do any sort of professional work. All right, they can do really good, you know, filming. They do really good at filming, but as far as really do compared to Filmic Pro, all right, it doesn't compare. Why? Because Filmic Pro, you can add LUTs. Okay, you can add false colors. You can add focus speaking. And so when I use that app also has the ability to also work with gimbals. And it works with this gimbal. It works with DJI gimbals. I know people are going to tell me, well, what about the iSteady from Hohem? It's got a lot more power. But guess what? Okay, that iSteady doesn't work with Filmic Pro. All right, and for me, it is more important that my professional camera app that I am using, that I can use with my gimbal, because all the functions that the DJI app gives you for the gimbal and your phone combination, right, you can do it with Filmic Pro and this gimbal, which means that if I open up Filmic Pro as a camera app, I can come up here and I can do a zoom in, zoom out, or I can click once and I can do focus. I can do you know, start my camera, stop my camera. I can do all these things, all right, out of my controls on my gimbal without touching the phone. And so that is important. Okay, number two, it is super easy. Okay, it is super easy to mount your phone. You just mount your phone on here, and when you open it up, it's got two ways that you open up. You can see right here, it's got a lock. All right, so if the first thing you want to do is you want to unlock it. All right, to unlock it, we take this and we open it. Okay, we swing it around, and so now it is unlocked. And now what we do is we can actually just open it, and as soon as you open it, you can see it's already on. All right, and so what you do is your phone is already on here. All right, your phone is already on here, and so what you do is you just, it's magnetic, you see, it's magnetic. All right, and so it's going to, you know, actually, you know, because I don't have any weight on the phone, right, it's doing that, right? Okay, that is why it's doing that. But as soon as you put it on there, you know, it's ready to go. All right, take it off, you just snap it off. All right, and to turn it off, you just close it. All right, it closes very nicely, and you lock it and it's off. It's that simple. Now it has 4 modes. Okay, it has its regular modes. You've got your regular, you know, buttons here, so you can do your front camera, your reverse camera. You hit it twice and it goes from landscape to portrait mode. Excuse me, if you're doing stuff like you know, like Instagram, TikTok, you know, that sort of stuff, you know, it's very useful. It's only $159, $160, and it's got a very good reputation for actually being something that works really well. Now, the drawbacks on this particular gimbal is that the payload is only 290 grams. And at 290 grams, if you have a phone, like for example, I use my Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, you know, my Samsung this phone, right, weighs about 280, which means that when I add my wireless mic, which is very light, it doesn't have any problems, okay, at all. But I cannot use it with for example, a case, all right, with my phone, because, you know, it's too much of a border. It just hits it like right there on the borderline, you know. And so I take my case off of my phone, just to reduce the weight, and that's how I use it, you know. But if I start to add a lot of other things, you know, to the phone, then, you know, this gimbal would not be good for me. But I don't add anything to my lenses, okay? Everything that I do through the app. I do through Filmic Pro in conjunction with this right here, all right? And it's super smooth, really smooth. Now, let's talk about why you would need a gimbal, all right? And here's something that a lot of people sort of, you know, kind of don't understand, because some people will say, oh yeah, but my phone has stabilization. Yes, phones have stabilization. You can put, you know, stabilization on your phone, just like on your cameras, all right? Some cameras have stabilization also, right? And yes, you can use those, you know, IBIS, you know, on the cameras and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter how good your stabilization is, all right? It doesn't matter which company you use. You know, once in a while it's going to hunt. Once in a while it's going to give you wobbly effects, you know, on the edges of your, you know, of your frame, you know, and that is because it is using computation to try to keep up, you know, with the movement of your phone or your camera as well, right? So now people say, well, but why don't you put stabilization on your post-production? Well, you know, when you do, you know, stabilization on your post-production, right, it comes with a different issue, some different issues, okay? One of the issues of doing stabilization in post-production with software like Final Cut Pro, Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, whichever software you use, Vegas, Sony Vegas, whatever you use, right? Even iMovie or whatever, right? One of the problems is that when you add stabilization from your software, it's going to crop a little bit in order to compensate for the movement. When you use a gimbal, it doesn't do none of that, okay? When you use a gimbal, you turn off your stabilization on your camera or on your phone, right? And so your movements are super smooth. They are smoother than if you were to use stabilization from your phone. It gives you a lot much more filmic, okay, filmic movements, cinematic movements, if they want. They sort of call that, but that word is so misused and misinterpreted that I don't want to get into that. But anyways, it gives you that look that you see on the big motion pictures when we use, for example, the more of gimbals or the dollies, or, you know, that sort of stuff. So it gives you that feel, all right, much nicer feel for your movement, for your camera movements. And so yes, I recommend this. And for $159, it actually brings your videos, right, to a next level, way much more professional. So with that said, you know, definitely I like this gimbal, okay? Now there's another thing about this gimbal that also makes it a lot better, and why I chose it, okay, for me, all right? Right now you're looking at me, right, filming this video, but the camera is sitting on a table, which is how I do most of my videos, and it's on a table tripod. But if you notice, right, my camera is sort of facing upward, okay? So if my camera was, let's say my camera was here, right, and I'm sitting here, my head would be like somewhere here, right? And so I would have to point the camera like this, you see, all right? And so when you do this, all right, your perspective is not how it should be. It's not the perspective, but the way that the proper way is not correct, number one. Number two, if I'm doing this when it's sunny, all right, tilting your camera this way prones more glare on your lens, okay, because it's easier for the sun to get to it. your camera should always be right straight at you. So why is that such a big deal? Well, okay, when I have this, okay, a gimbal on a table, right, I also have the ability, let me turn it on again, to let me see, let me do this, okay, to look at that, okay, I can stretch it. All right, so now, all right, my camera can be like way up here, or I can lower it down, all right, to where it's eye level to me. You see, and I cannot do that with a tabletop tripod. I would have to bring a camera tripod. So this covers all of that, all right, and that is a huge tool, all right, for the way that I shoot. Now, yes, it's also much better if you're doing this because you have a longer reach, all right, and that makes it, you know, much nicer, right? Okay, but the reality is I don't really use the longer reach, okay? I use it more to actually elevate my camera from my phone to where it is actually eye level to me, and it prevents the camera from getting glares from the sun because I always film outdoors. So anyways, do I recommend this gimbal? Absolutely. It comes with a little pouch. It comes with these two things, okay, the tripod and this. The battery on this has lasted me about 7 hours, you know, give or take, right? Depends on how much you use the gimbal, what functions that is that you use the gimbal. I love it, okay? I love it. Out of all the gimbals that I've tested them all. I've tested, you know, all the phone gimbals, and I think that for $160 you can't go wrong, okay? You can't go wrong. It elevates your production level so much more higher, and it makes your video look so much nicer, you know. Anyways, thank you for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed, you know, please subscribe. I'm trying to get more people involved, and I'm gonna have a lot more videos coming with they're not really reviews, because I don't really want to call them reviews. I call them more like my personal experience and as to why I chose the item. There's many people out there giving reviews with specs and that sort of stuff, and if that's what you need, then, you know, go ahead and go watch another person's review. I highly recommend it. But as for me, I like to give you my personal experience and how I use the product, so that maybe it can help you and expand your ideas, you know, as to things that I don't hear on the internet being said, you know, about stuff like this. You know, there's just one or two little things that I tell you that is not in a another person's video, you know, might always be good for you. So anyways, this is Charles Richard saying thank you so much for joining me today. And if you haven't subscribed, please hit that button, you know, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.